Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our morning shiur right here in Yerushalayim. Thank you, Raya and Mordechai, for hosting and broadcasting our shiur. Today is Thursday morning, the 10th of Sivan, and we are going to continue. This will be the final class for the 6th Mishna of the 4th chapter of Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Fathers. Firstly, let's discuss a couple of very interesting points regarding the Mishnah that says, whoever honors the Torah, he himself will be honored. And whoever desecrates the Torah, God forbid, they themselves will be desecrated. They will by creatures, by other people. Firstly, there's an interesting interpretation from the Barbanel over here that says that when you say you need to respect the Torah, honor the Torah, that is referring to a Talmid Chacham, a Torah scholar, that needs to literally become, that needs to be dressed respectfully. Which means that when he dresses respectfully, then the Torah is respected. Because when the Torah scholar walks in the street, it's not a personal individual. He is someone who respects the Torah. He represents the Torah. So therefore, it's important that he is careful to be dressed neatly and respectfully. And then he will be respected, the Torah will be respected. Another interesting point is that when a person honors the Torah, then he will be honored by even creatures. When it says creatures, this refers, the Medrash says, to even the lions and the birds. Even different animals will also respect him. Because at the end of the day, when a person gives the Torah the respect that it needs, then that's the most important thing. The Torah is respect. Whatever happens afterwards is almost is personal for him. But you want the Torah should have the ultimate respect. And then there's an interesting interpretation from the Chidah that he says that when we say he who respects the Torah, then his body is respected. His body refers to someone who views the Torah to have a body and a soul. The body are the simple, the basic interpretation. Then the soul is the deeper interpretation that and the person realizes that there are different ways of understanding the Torah. If someone has this perspective, then they will be also respected. Regarding what I said earlier about the birds respecting a person, the Zohar says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai would study and the birds would hover above him and provide him with shade. And the same thing it says that when Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, he was quote unquote honored by the lions and they did not harm him. What do we see from here? That someone who learns Torah, someone who is dedicated to Torah and respects the Torah, that person will be honored and respected even by animals. Now let us try to understand the meaning of whoever respects the Torah, he himself is respected by other people. So one of the interpretations is, as we learned a couple of days ago, that people should respect not only the Torah learners, but also the Sefer Torah, the Holy Torah itself. So if so, isn't that superfluous to talk about that in Pirkei Avot and the Ethics of Our Fathers? The Ethics of Our Fathers, we spoke a few times, discusses and teaches us how to do the law, the halakha, the Shulchan Aruch. But over here, we're talking about something which is, and I'm sorry, let's start that again. Pirkei Avot discusses subjects which are beyond the letter of the law, and to respect the Torah is the law. We have to honor a Torah. So why would this Mishnah be teaching us these halachot, which seemingly are not relevant to merely the Chassidut, words of Chassidut? And the answer is the Rabbi Yossi himself, who said this Mishnah He himself, there's a story about him in the Medrash that he met the queen, a non-Jewish queen, and she would ask him all kinds of questions about Hashem and Judaism. And he had lots of so even though it's not, even though I hope everybody can hear me now. Even though it's not an obligation to sit with a Gentile and to explain to them all kinds of hypothetical or theoretical questions about Yiddishkeit, he wanted to show respect to the Torah. And so he took the time, and this is what Rabbi Yossi himself teaches us. He doesn't only preach, he also practiced what he told us. And he told us that we need to respect the Torah and make it respectable for all of the creatures, for all of the creations of Hashem, not only for Am Yisroel. So he teaches us what he himself did. And then we say, Jew is made up of a neshama and a guf, a soul and a body. So why do we say in the Mishna, gufo mechubad al habriot? If someone respects the Torah, then his body will be respected on the people. So why does it talk about the kuf? Isn't the most important part of the Jew the neshama, the soul? So seemingly that should have been the main focus. The answer is that when we talk about the honor of a Torah, which is the wisdom of Hashem, the infinite wisdom of Hashem, that's something which is self-understood. But sometimes when a person has to guard the kavod, the honor of the Torah, then it's required difficulty that may put his body into some kind of danger, because we know that Am Yisrael in Galut, in exile, are compared to one sheep between 70 wolves. So it's possible that if someone is trying to guard the Torah, the honor of the Torah, then it might make it difficult in Parnasa. So therefore the Mishnah says that when a Jew honors the Torah, then even the lowest creatures, not only they're not going to disturb him in his bodily matters, but they will also help him. That also explains why it says the word briot, which is creatures, and it doesn't say simply gufo mechubad al ha'anashim or al ha'yehudim. It should have said that his body will be respected for the Jews or for the people. Why creatures? It sounds like a very unimportant identity of an individual. So therefore, since we are talking about that even the low life creatures who usually are considered wolves, they can really interfere with a person's service of Hashem. So we say, if you respect the Torah, then even those creatures, quote unquote, will not only not disturb, but they'll also help. In a practical sense, that when a person stands strong for their principles and anything which has to do with Judaism, then the surrounding areas, surrounding individuals, they have a respect for the person. Obviously, it's possible for people, for the bad people, not necessarily to respect a Torah learner. But that's very unfortunate. But this is trying to bring a point across that we have to try our best to project honor for Hashem and honor for the Torah. And when we do so, then Bezrat Hashem helps us. We see it very often that Hashem does help us that these individuals actually help us out. And this is a very important thing when it comes to showing respect on a global level, especially today when we have the unbelievable tool of technology and social media, that we can add honor to the Torah by us publicizing Torah videos and Torah learning and teachings, whether through our YouTube channel of Chabad of Rechavia or the many, many other websites and technology, that will add a tremendous amount of honor to Hashem and to the Torah. And we see both in America, in the diaspora, and also over here when it comes to the enemies around Israel. When the world sees that we are strong, we project honor for Hashem. We teach Torah without being ashamed. And we do the right thing because it's simply the right thing to do. Then overall, usually, I would even say the majority of events, the world shows respect for Hashem and for Am Yisrael. But when we are bashful, in the wrong sense, and we try to hide behind all kinds of things, and we don't show our pride, our Jewish pride of Torah learning and Torah observance, then, unfortunately, the world acts in response and also embarrasses Eretz Yisrael and Am Yisrael. So therefore, one of the lessons that we can learn from today is Kol HaMechabedet Torah, to honor ourselves as Am Yisrael, to honor Hashem, and that will bring that the world will respect us. Thank you very much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you, Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow morning, 9:30 for Kabbalah Cafe. And I would like to invite everyone to join us for a Sima Rambam tonight, which is, the address is right here in Shari Chesed, for Yeshayahu Bar Zakai. Toda Rabba, thank you very much.